You know what I find interesting about a miniseries like this is when you have 6 episodes, you can kind of figure out the 3 acts. And boy, does the second act end on a oh boy. How's everyone doing today, guys? My name's D Codes, and this is Loki episode 4, the Nexus event. And boy, do we get a Nexus event in this episode. Oh. And so many things are running through my head, mainly the ending, but this is just a mind-boggling episode in my head. I mean, in terms of the story, it's pretty straightforward with everything that we've gotten. I think it's just they are teasing us with a lot of stuff that's could have happened. I mean, just. And of course, there's a few shocking moments in this one as well. I was just gut wrenched when they happened. It's just. All right, so let's start at the beginning. I at first I wasn't entirely sure why we were getting a Sylvie flashback, but then I immediately thought, okay, well, that's to justify that she's telling the truth on that fact, because in the next scene, she and Loki are talking, and obviously the moon's gonna hit and destroy the planet, and she kind of opens up to him and says, I was taken when I was really young, and that is the first scene, she's on Asgard, she's playing, and then they take her, they take a little kid, they make her go through the whole TVA shtick, and just, she's there in the trial, and the lady that was the judge for Loki is actually a guard who Sylvie actually is able to outwit, and by that I mean she's able to steal her temp pad and get away. And so all of a sudden you kind of get why she's a little more hostile, or in terms of trying to catch Sylvie, because she screwed up. She let her get away, and all this time has passed for her to go from being this little kid to an adult. But remember, they're gods, so it takes a little longer for them to grow. I mean, well, I mean, they really, yeah, I don't know. Age is interesting for gods in the MCU, I guess. But that's basically our origin for Sylvie and why she was taken by the TVA, and just the fact that she was a kid and she was taken by the TVA, that really is just, oh, that just hurts. And you understandably connect with her on that, because if you were taken from your home when you were a kid and you can never go back, you would feel angry too. And so yeah, so ever since then, she's just been on this, she's just been on this crusade of trying to get to the timekeepers, and it's kind of interesting, it's interesting how that works. So yeah, but after that flashback, we have Loki and Sylvie on Lamentis. After what happened in the last episode, you think it's over, they're gonna die. But I figured something was going to happen. Maybe they would figure out how to cause a Nexus event. And I said all they had to do is get, one person safe. Save one person or something like that. And I wasn't entirely wrong. They get out of there by causing a Nexus event. But it's not a Nexus event that anyone was expecting in my mind. Because it's interesting. It's interesting how this Nexus event was caused. Because a part of me wonders if the Nexus event was caused because it was inevitably going to happen that they were going to be saved or not. And so the Nexus, and so, because basically the Nexus event that happened was a real spark flew between Sylvie and Loki, like, you know, the moment they fell for each other, or at least Loki did. Loki fell for Sylvie. So I really did find that odd, you know, just because I mean, even they pointed it out. Like, have you ever seen a Nexus event like that? It's like, because the way it did go off, it was like it was very straight, but then, you know, a little bit curved. Like, it was one of those. So I don't know fully why. I mean, I'm still trying to process it, and I don't really have enough time to process it because I gotta go to work in about an hour, so I gotta get this out of the way. But yeah, so Sylvie and Loki, a spark flew, and that's what caused a Nexus event on the timeline, which has been fixed. All the strands have been fixed, so there isn't a multiverse yet. We'll see. But so the TVA captures them, and Sylvie gets thrown into one interrogation room, and Loki gets thrown in with Mobius, and of course Mobius, not having any of it, throws him in this time cell, which replays a memory of him with Sif. And it's funny because since it's a time loop, in other words, just replaying the same thing over and over again, you know Loki is going to just get to the point where either he will know exactly how to stop it, or he will just get so tired and annoyed by it. And both happens. Both of them happen. You know, he gets annoyed with it, but he also is able to figure out how to get Sif to stop punching him and kneeing him and all that. So it was a little funny bit, and plus, you know, we got to see Sif again. That was fun. But I did find it odd that was the one memory they picked. Maybe Mobius just wanted to pick one that really hit, because Sif, you know, said you will always be alone, and after that, you know, punched him, kicked him, and so, But, funny enough, you know, Loki, like, you know, with the information he got in the last episode about the TVA, tells Mobius that the TVA has been lying to them. You know, they aren't created by the Timekeepers. They were variants themselves and all that. So, and with Mobius, you know, because he's gotten so used to interrogating these Lokis, or, you know, he knows what a Loki does. I like this episode in terms of how much you try to figure out how. It's interesting. Like, every conversation that was going on in this episode that involved TVA, you really were just sitting there and trying to figure out whether or not it was a full truth, a partial lie, or an all-out lie. And I like that. I really did like that, because it got me trying to read the characters' minds as they were talking. Like, are they telling the truth? Are they making this up? Is there something that I'm not picking up here? It's like, what am I getting here out of this conversation? And Mobius, you know, is slowly able to pick stuff up, because at first, you know, like the start, he asked about. Well, actually, I did like this. I like how he was interrogating Loki, and you know, he's trying to get Loki to confess something, so he kind of plays like this hand where it's like, well, how long you been working with Sylvie? Not that long, you know, she's just a pawn. And he's like, okay, and then Loki's like, oh, okay, fine, yeah, she came to me on Asgard, and we planned this whole thing out, she's just a pawn. And then Mobius is like, oh, okay, well, because she's dead. And then that's when, you know, the second he mentions that she could possibly be dead, Loki reveals himself, and Mobius is just like, oh my god, you fell for her. You fell for yourself. And he's like, and he mentions how that is pure chaos. And I'm like, yeah, technically speaking, because, you know, you technically fell for yourself, but at the same time, you know, it's not entirely yourself, it's another version of you. Yeah. So Loki and Mobius just have the converse, you know, they go at each other, but every single time Loki tries to bring up the fact that the TVA has been lying to them and that he's a variant and that he's not real, Mobius tries to brush him off. A part of me was hoping Loki would bring up the jet ski thing, because he's like, because again, Mobius really loved jet skis. He loved jet skis, and he obviously had something about it. So maybe Loki could have brought that up, and maybe Mobius would have fought a little bit more. But luckily, Mobius does get somewhat of an idea of what's going on, or at least an understanding as to what he is, because when he goes to the I keep forgetting her name, but the main judge, like, when he goes to her office to close the case, and she's telling him that the timekeepers want to personally watch Sylvie and Loki get probed. So they have to keep them alive. So basically so Sylvie and Loki aren't dead just yet. Although C-20 is dead. The TVA guard that was taken in the second episode, that had the memory flashback in the last episode, they said she's dead. Then this is, of course, when I was like, bull. And yeah, she was dead, but the way the judge tried to brush it off, like saying, well, and like Mobius like, what? She seemed a little whack, but she was fine. And she's like, well, her condition got worse when she got back. She started spewing nonsense, like she wasn't even able to make words. It's like, it just got worse and worse. And I'm like, she was blabbing, wasn't she? She knew something was up. And even the other guard that was possessed by Sylvie in the second episode, like she was getting something out of it too. Like, she goes to Sylvie and they hide out in the apocalypse for her to figure out what was going on. And Sylvie says, like, I can't create memories, I can only pull a memory out of someone's head. So that's what she does with the guard. And this was an interesting experiment in my mind in terms of how this scene went. Because usually when we see, a memory or a flashback and we get to see the person's emotions, we actually see the flashback and the emotion and, like, what they're feeling in that moment, and we understand them. Here we just see it completely as an outsider's perspective. We do not go into the lady's head. We do not see any memories of what she was like before she became a TVA. We just see her standing there in the rain, and we just see her emotions on her face, and her, and all she says, look, I looked happy. That's all we get from that. And a part of me just was a little bit kind of wishing we would see it just to get a little more of a powerful punch, but at the same time, it is cool to just leave it up for grabs to figure out what kind of person she was. Because for the most part, that is what everyone is like at the TVA. They have no idea what their past was like. All they know is that they were seemingly created by the Timekeepers, but now this guard, C-20, and Mobius are suddenly realizing that they were not just from the Timekeepers, that they were taken from their timeline. They were taken from a life that they had. And Mobius figures that out because he is able to snatch the main judge's tempad and go through some audio logs. And I'm like, or video logs, I'm like, why would you record a video log? And so Mobius is able to go through the video log of the interrogation of C-20, and she basically spilled the beans, like saying, like, I wasn't created by the Timekeepers, I had a life, you took me from my timeline. And so the judge is like, okay, we're ending this now. Like, so Mobius puts the pieces together, and, he goes back to Loki, and he, of course, I do like this, he's like, do you trust her? And he's like, do you trust her? And, like, and Loki's like, yes, I do. And so Mobius is like, good, because I need you to trust me. And he's like, I can't believe I'm gonna be working with the Loki here. And then Loki's like, how about a friend? And it's like, oh, that's so cool. And then they get out, and the judge is there, and Mobius is like standing there, and then he actually brings up his answer for a question that she asked him earlier when they were drinking together. She asked, like, if you could go anywhere on the timeline, where would you go? And Mobius is like, you know, I don't know where I would go to whatever timeline you yanked me from, whatever whatever life that I was living, whatever happiness that I had, whatever, maybe I had a jet ski, you know, like he was spewing all that, and then he gets prone. And a part of me just felt that. I mean, you're supposed to feel that. It's a, you know, because a character like him, after only spending 3 episodes with them, that's, you spend episodes 1 and 2 with them, you don't see him at all in episode 3. You see him in this one, and yeah, you just feel that. You just feel him get prone, and you just... And, you know, obviously Loki can't get prone there because, again, they have to go to the Timekeepers, and that's exactly what happens. He and Sylvie, they go up to the Timekeepers, except it's just them and the judge, and I like how Sylvie tries to get a little of just that last bit of information from her. Like, she knows, she's like, what did I do to get here? She's like, you took me when I was a kid, why? And the judge is just like, I forgot. And a part of me wonders if, I say a part of me, I'm like, bull, you remember. You know exactly what she did. Or what she did, quote unquote. Because again, it seems like all these people do is just live their life, and if it just doesn't go the way that the Timekeepers want it, or... Sorry, did I say Timekeepers? Yeah. Is it bad that when they got off the elevator and we saw the Timekeepers up in their chairs, I immediately was like, not real. Like, I literally got that Wizard of Oz animatronic, or fake, fake thing just there. I don't know how. I just immediately bought it. I think that's because all the theories that have been going around, just the fact that the TVA has been yanking variants out of timelines to make them TVA, you figured, yeah, these Timekeepers are fake. So, yeah. Plus, you know, they were just standing there, too. They're not doing anything. Like, it's not like Snoke in Last Jedi, where he can literally just wave his finger and everything, and something can happen. Like, that, it wasn't that. You know, it's like, you know, these 3 beings of time were just sitting in their chairs and just looking, and they're just talking, and it's like, yeah, you guys are fake. And yeah, it seems like Sylvie and Loki are screwed until that one guard that Sylvie had a connection with, you know, she comes in, they fight. It's a pretty cool fight. And it seems like Sylvie and Loki win, and Sylvie even decapitates one of the Timekeepers' heads, and we get the reveal that the Timekeepers are fake. You know, it's an android's head, and it seems like there is no answer there. It's like, what is happening? And of course, I mean, if we're going off some theories and known knowledge of future movies, Kang the Conqueror, anyone? And, you know, and it seems like this episode might end on Loki and Sylvie just standing there, just like, you know, that cliffhanger of like, well, what do we do now? But then Loki goes up to her and he's like, sorry, this is new to me. Like, he's acting really nervous. He's trying to confess his feelings for her, but because, you know, this is a new thing for him, he's kind of nervous. And then he gets prone, and I'm like, when they get prone, they don't just die, right? They can go somewhere, right? That's a part of what I was hoping. I'm like, they wouldn't. I mean, if he got prone, he has to be going somewhere, right? Like, right? But at the same time, I'm like, no, he maybe be dead. Maybe these last 2 episodes are gonna focus on Sylvie and what she's gonna do or something. And I'm like, I mean, there's still Loki stuff that's yet to come. Like, I mean, geez, that one where he's dressed up as like a partial politician, he has the helmet, and, you know, he's surrounded by that group, but that'll suddenly turn on him. Like, I'm just saying, he's not dead, right? But, you know, Sylvie, you know, it was the judge that pruned him, so Sylvie is able to take the judge down, and she's like, you're gonna tell me everything, and that's where the episode ends, and oh my gosh. I don't know where to go from here. I mean, the last episode I was thinking, okay, well, it's gonna probably go in this sort of direction. In this episode, like, in terms of TVA related things, I have a good idea where it's gonna go. In terms of Loki himself, I don't know how they're gonna fix that. I mean, maybe instead of when they're pruned, they're not like deleted from the timeline. They're just sent to another realm or another reality or something, and it's like a giant prison. Maybe it's that. I hope it's that. It'd be funny because think about it. All these different people that were variants are just stuck here. Maybe there's like an army of Lokis. That would be hilarious. Just Loki just sitting there and just seeing all of his different versions of himself. Just be like, what the hell? But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, okay. Yeah, that's all I got. So that was episode 4. That was the Nexus event, and 2 episodes left. We're heading into the final act, and yeah, I really have no idea where it's gonna go in terms of Loki, but if if the fans are getting this right, then we got a certain conqueror coming, and who knows what's gonna happen. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. And if you want to subscribe. You don't have to. I'm just saying. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next video.